DJ's here, just so you know. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Jared Klim. This is not the corner booth, guys. I know it's a Tuesday, obviously. I know you guys want to sit and have a couple beers, but I brought some friends today because for the first time ever, we are not only doing a show just about the amazing thing, God's gift called craft beer. I brought in some real experts. So, of course, we've got where's like the guys from Craft Brew Sports? They all are MIA, but we got some real heavy hitters tonight. Joining us, of course, we've got the gents from the Scoreboard Addicts podcast, TJ and the Rook, and also from What's in the Pint, my man Big Nick. Joining us soon, hopefully, will be Jabberjaw, and of course, my guy Mccarthy, if you ever figure out his audio. But gentlemen, first off, cheers to our very first episode.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
The Craft Brew Super Show.
I just, when I crack open my beer, I got beer on my computer, which isn't great, but cheers.
Yeah, I cheers. I've done that about 7 times recording, so you're in good company here.
Battle scars. It's okay.
Always.
You'll just leave a stain. It'll be fun.
All righty. So this show, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be all about beer. Good beer, bad beer, tailgate beer, high alcohol, low alcohol, that crap that people drink now by Athletic Brewing. I don't understand it. Everything in between, breweries, everything on top of it. So let's get started. Gentlemen, what are we drinking tonight?
I guess I'll start. I got a local brew here from Port Monmouth, New Jersey. It's Ross Beer Company. It's the Manasquan Wit. And I actually got it because my wife actually went to the beach at Manasquan today. So
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to pick this up. It's actually pretty good. It's a Belgian beer. It's pretty light, 5.1 alcohol by volume, but it's pretty decent. My first time having it, but it's good.
All righty. All right, Mr. Nick, what are you drinking right now?
So I got a New England IPA from Man Brewing. They're based in Northern Virginia, in like the Fairfax area, so right on the outskirts of DC.
Nice.
6.5%. I think it's got citra hops in it. It's kind of just like an easy breezy IPA, so it's pretty solid. So
I love it. TJ, what you got?
I went with something different today in honor of this momentous occasion and hanging out with you gentlemen. I went with a Guava Rodeo by Oscar Blues Brewery. Sour ale brewed with guava, tangerine, and other natural fruit flavors. 6.0 on the ABV. It's actually really good, but very sour.
Can. I like the can.
So,
where's that brewery from, TJ?
I was just looking it up, and on the side of the can, it says they're an LLC from Longmont, Colorado, Brevard, North Carolina, and Austin, Texas. So they're all over out there.
Yeah.
Well, as I got a little extra foam here, gents, I'm drinking a 6.2 double dry hop New England IPA by Beard Brewing. It's over here by me in Connecticut. I love everything by Beard. This is actually their lowest alcohol beer. Their highest goes up to about 11, but they taste like they're 4%, which is why they're so dangerous. They just,
Nice.
cost about $17 a damn can. I got to give one shout out though. My man Josh over at Witch Doctor Brewing up here in Southington, Connecticut. I have 2 beers by him that I'll be drinking later in the show as well. Those are a little stronger. This was just to get me started.
Ease on into it.
Yeah, I mean, I did have one by Trogs earlier today. That was like 8.3. I had it as like an afternoon beer while I was writing all this stuff up, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so strong to start. It was Lollihop, which is, by the way, phenomenal. But it's literally the craziest color when you pour it. It's like almost like a neon yellow. I'm like, am I drinking radioactive shit right now? This is great, but I've never seen a beer this color. Also, shout out to our girl Beth from Woo Hockey joining us. Oh,
yeah, I love going out to Trogs. Have you been out to the brewery right outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania? Oh, that place is great.
So I knew today was going to be a lot of funny stories about breweries and everything else. My Trog story is great. Me and my buddy, he's a local cop up by here. Me and him both had a couple vacation days to burn before a certain deadline. He's like, hey, you want to go hiking up in Shenandoah over in Virginia? I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And I love how Rook's trying to mess with his screensavers. I just said, screw it, just leave the green screen up. I'm actually tearing this down and building a shelf behind me because I'm done with it. But anyway, so we're hiking up in Shenandoah, and we're on our way back. The last day was kind of miserable. He's like, yo, let's go to Trogs. I love Trogs Brewing. I guess this is fair brewery. We stop in there. I see Imperial Stouts. I've been on Imperial Stout kick for months. So I saw Impending Descent, but it was like some edition. It was 13.8. We had nothing in our systems. I had 3 of those.
Oh.
Stumbling around the damn gift store. I bought, I think, a case of their gold IPA. And then we somehow found our way to a Taco Bell and each spent $50.
Oh, very nice.
I will give Trogs the credit, though, besides the fact their kitchen was closed for some stupid reason. Apparently, their kitchen's incredible. But the beer was awesome. I've never had a bad beer from Trogs. I think it's honestly one of my top 5 highest rated breweries in America total. Like, I never have a bad beer from them.
I was going to say,
$50 at Taco Bell
in your stomach. Their kitchen is phenomenal. Like,
I've heard nothing but great things.
We went in there. The first time we ever went in there was kind of during COVID, and the kitchen was very. They weren't doing shareables. It was more just individual plates. So they cut down the menu. Go back there as COVID's winding down, and it's more traditional. How it should be mixed together. And me and my wife order I'm like, oh, that sounds good. You get that appetizer, I'll get that appetizer. My 6-year-old son's like, oh, I want that. It's like, all right, whatever. They were small last time. Get him his own appetizer. They were family style. They were the size of the table. It was obscene how much food we had to leave. And then we all still walked out of their stuff. My son's like, Daddy, I'm full. I'm like, no, you're not full yet, dude. Just a couple more bites, man. I was like, we can't leave this much food. I was like, we're going to get booed out of here.
I was going to say for Jared, $50 at Taco Bell. Did you buy the menu twice?
I think I bought.
Get you a long way.
I was a little inebriated, so it may have been like 35, but still, I did buy 2 Crunchwrap Supremes. I think the cheesy nacho fries. I bought 2 orders of those. Like, I was going OD on this. I was trying to just buy everything I could because I knew we were still in South Pennsylvania, and I still had about 3.5 hours to get back with a grumpy jackass driving to get back to Connecticut. I was like, I needed just to have a ton of food just to soak up the amount of alcohol. Because I also kept drinking at every stop we had in the way. Because I wasn't getting in a car the entire day besides sitting passenger. So every stop, or even like after stops, if we had a place I chucked the beer out before we got on the highway, I was drinking more beer. Because I said that hopefully the collective lack of sobriety will make this trip less unpleasant. I am not condoning road sodas by any stretch or drinking and driving. That is a legal disclosure.
Yeah, that's definitely. I agree with that. Gotta put that disclaimer on there. You want to get in trouble when someone else does the same thing and blames you for it.
Yeah, right. It's all Jared from Korner Booth's fault. He's such a degenerate. Well, the second part's true, but it's not my fault.
That's what I mean, though. We can all agree that alcohol makes things a lot more fun and entertaining. And then it's the disclaimer comes in because somebody falls off a ladder or off a roof or thinks that they can, jump on their jet ski and blast around. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, where did Jim go? It's like, I don't know. He's gone. I'm having his beer.
I listen, man. I've had some. So this actually brings me to my first point: is breweries itself and craft beer, right? So I started drinking beer around the time craft breweries were exploding. I'm 27 years old, so about maybe 6 years ago, 7. That's when like everything started blowing up. The craft beer became a really big staple. Connecticut, we've got one in every other town because it's a bunch of bored rich people with nothing to do and a bunch of rednecks who like drinking beer. So it's the perfect combination. So like this one right here, where this mug is from, I don't have any beer by them today because I drank it already, but Blackhawk Brewing is literally a golf ball shot from my house. Their famous beers are like Coffee Milk Stout and Ginger Ninja and Easy Rider, and there was another one. Granola Brown Ale. Those are like their most famous beers, right? It's a lot of funky stuff, and their double IPAs, amazing, but they're so snobby they'll only brew it once a year for a month. And I mean, like, you guys would almost not be bankrupt if you made more beer, but whatever. That's not my choice. That's where they're losing business. But so this brings me to my point. I noticed this because a lot of bars will basically have a great atmosphere. So you drink a shitty beer, but you don't care. I was at a country bar last week, hence the cowboy hat. I did not buy this there. I've had this for a while, but I went there. I'm drinking Rolling Rock and Narragansett, not giving a shit because I'm having a great time. It's a great environment. The food's good. It's a great party at the place. I'm loving it. I go to breweries. I'm realizing this more and more. Sometimes the better the beer, the shittier the environment of the brewery. Very rare do you find both. I'm starting to notice.
I think that's true. I agree.
Yeah, it's a little almost pompous. I mean, it's kind of like pinky out in some breweries where it's like, oh, can you not taste the hint of nutmeg in the back? It's like, no, I can't.
It's like, no, I'm just
Should I
tasting
put this
that.
down?
I'm just
Should I
tasting the
leave now?
9% alcohol that you just shoved in this thing.
I gotta say, so me, my cousin, and a couple buddies from a baseball team, right around the time we turned 22, 23, like Brewfest first started hitting the scene. I'm 35, by the way. So we figured let's shoot out to Manhattan. They used to have a Brewfest in New York City underneath the FDR, where the what's it called pier was, where the Fulton Street Fish Market. So we go over there, and they have the typical breweries that you heard of, you know, Blue Moon, stuff like that, Weyerbacher, and then a whole bunch of just, you know, basement breweries before these places became, you know, the gastropubs and, you know, got it really into it. And just walking around and trying all these different beers, and especially the IPAs, when these, you know, basement breweries didn't really know what to do with IPAs. They just figured, let me hop the crap out of it and see what happens. I walked out of there with a newfound appreciation for Budweiser and Coors Light. Because I almost quit drinking beer with the taste of some of them. It was like, dude, did you run this through like just skunky weed and your socks and then like hand it to me? Is that what you did? Why would you do this to me? And like they were all proud, and I felt so bad, like just shitting on their thing. But we hung out by the Blue Moon tent almost the rest of the day. Just like the guy's like, yeah, dude, I don't want to bring these kegs back full. So let's go. Give me those 4-ounce cups. And he was just lining them up like we were doing a power hour.
That's amazing.
Just shot after shot of 4 hours. It was insane. But I mean, I got to say now, the especially the IPAs have gotten a lot better, especially like everybody doing the hazy IPAs is one of my favorite IPAs out there because it's just so crushable. And, you know, that added
it's
like
dangerous too.
Oh my God. Right. Absolutely dangerous. You realize it's like, all right, I'm teaching like orange and a little bit of hops, and holy shit, this is 9%. And I had 6 already. I got to call a cab.
There's a lot of beers I'm noticing now as it's getting more and more advanced. Like the craft beer game has become more and more fine tuned, that I'm noticing more that are way up there in hops. And like now, like 6% is considered a low alcohol IPA. Like back when like I was like in college, man, I saw 6%. I was like, oh boy, I'm speed rolling to this one. And like one of the ones, and yes, Kevin, 13% would kill you, but that's not even close to the highest alcohol IBV I've had for a beer. I will tell you all that in a little bit, but I've noticed this a lot where like sometimes the beer is stronger at places that look like dumps because you're trying to show you that it's not actually a dump. You're focusing on the beer. I was in this place. Oh God, it's called Thimble Island it's in South Connecticut, right? It's down by Stony Creek and all those breweries in the New Haven area. And this one is known for their higher alcohol beers, the Island Collection. That's what they call them. Their lowest ABV beer that's not like a specialty, like a sour, is like 7.5. So you leave there ignoring the fact that you're at a strip mall and it looks like a dump in there. Well, at least it used to. They definitely cleaned it up since then. But the first time I went there, I'm like, I feel like I'm in somebody's back alley garage, but the beer's so damn good, I don't even give a shit anymore.
Yeah. Dude, have you ever hit a Weyerbacher?
Yes. Went there once. Loved it.
That's like that. So I was just going to say Weyerbacher's like
so
that.
good. It's right near us. It's a stone's throw away from New York City, New Jersey, that whole tri-state area. You can just hit it quick, just barely into Pennsylvania. But they have a gun range right down the block. And that gun range not only is just an awesome gun range, it's one of the few gun ranges that you can go in this area and rent a fully automatic, you know, rifle or submachine gun. So it quickly became like, all right, let's go shoot some guns and drink some beers. It's like, oh my God, that's a perfect Saturday.
That's literally, by the way, the Weyerbacher's on my way to my vacation on Friday. I may have to stop
check it out.
I may leave early now that the kid who I was riding with is going to be like, oh, I might leave early, so I might take my own car. I'm like, all right, fine, be an idiot. Waste your gas. I have to leave early because I started a new job on Tuesday. That's the only reason I'm leaving early. But it's like, I'm like, all right, well, cool. Now I get to go shoot guns and drink beer. That's the most American thing for 4th of July I've ever seen.
Yep, you got to do it in that order, though, especially with Weyerbacher.
Well, there's a great golf course right around the corner.
I do keep my clubs in my car at all times. So that's a very interesting take there.
Yeah, there's a really nice course. It's Morgan Hill. It's like 5 minutes on the road. I went there. We played golf all morning. We went over, shot over to Weyerbacher, and it's funny, like you said, it's like a garage. It doesn't look special. The beer is really good. They have really strong beers too. They have like 13, 12. I didn't hit those up.
Oh yeah,
but
everything
they have some
from
good
there
beers
is
there.
really good. And I actually really like the fact that they do a lot of kind of, fan appreciation, where if you're a home brewer, you can bring it in and they'll put it out there. They'll let you put it on tap and throw it out there. And they actually do different type of contests where they'll brew it, or in collaboration with you, they'll mass produce it or put out a certain amount of cans for, resell if you win their contest for the year. And I've had some ridiculous beers from there that I cannot get anymore. And it's just like, wait a second, that was a one-time runoff. It's like, why didn't you tell me? I would have bought as much as I could fit in my truck.
Yeah.
So my next one I'm actually drinking right now, talking about heavy alcohol beers. This is Voodoo Hop Drop by my boys over at Witch Doctor. This is an 8% ABV. It tastes like a 4, and it's really deadly because I could drop a 4-pack of these in an hour. So Witch Doctor, by the way, is one of those breweries I want to talk about, because it's one of those ones that like has it's almost like a bar kind of establishment with lounges, chairs, everything else. They've got like cornhole inside the place. That's how big it is. And they've got pool tables. They've got all this crap, live music. And they always have a food truck in their patio. So it's a great spot. But the problem is, last time I went to Witch Doctor in person, and I know the manager, I used to be his insurance agent. Literally, that's how I found them, is because I reached out to them. I'm like, hey, you guys need anything with life insurance? Like, yeah, we do. Can you come in tomorrow? I'm like, I get free beer and I get to make a sale. Let's go. So I go in there. I have 4 Voodoo Hop Drops. Thank God I'm not driving. I walk into this legendary Connecticut bar. It's known for Twings, the Groggy Frog. I can't see straight because I just got off work, and it's like Friday, like 8 o'clock at night. My boy drove, and I'm like, she's like, honey, what do you want? I'm like, Cars Banquet, because I'm like, I can't drink anything like heavy right now. That's what, I love those dangerous beers we're talking about. This is kind of like a hazy double, but I love it. So I will ask you though, guys, have you guys ever been to a brewery where the atmosphere is like Trogs, where it's amazing, but the beer is garbage?
Yeah, we have together when
we do. We've gone together. We do
our first brewery reviews.
We have 4 so far. We did one is Alternate Ending, one is Source Brewing. I'm wearing the hat. What was it? The Flagship, and then we did the Bahamas one when TJ went away. And Alternate Ending is a really cool atmosphere. It's a bar atmosphere. They actually also have their own cocktails. Actually, the cocktails are pretty good, right, TJ? I think you had one.
Yep.
They're really good. The food's amazing. The pizza's really good. The beer is nothing to nothing. Don't even go back for beer. If you want to go back for food or cocktails, don't go for beer.
We found every single beer, whether it was an IPA or a lager or anything else, it all had kind of the same note to it, just like the same. I don't know if they didn't rinse out the barrels or they just used the exact same hops in the recipe, but it just all had the same note to it, and there was no variation that you're looking for. You get a flight, you want things to taste different than each other, and it's like, why does the stout taste like the IPA?
Yeah, especially the fact that those should never mix the same can ever.
Yeah. The cool thing about it was it used to be a movie theater, so they cut out the walls and they blew them out. They have kind of garage windows, door windows kind of go up. They have a projection screen, so they play old movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the beer is not worth staying.
It's disappointing compared to everything else. I mean, the food's tremendous. The cocktails, the craft cocktails that they had, I think it was called what was it, the gin and jam or something like that. It was pretty much just a blueberry kind of preserves jam that they made a gin cocktail out of, and it was phenomenal. And that's what I started out with, waiting for Rook to get there, and I was like, oh, tonight's gonna be great. And then we got the flight, and we're just I'm just staring at each other.
I've been in a brewery like that when literally you're just like, holy crap, this is amazing, this atmosphere is awesome. Then you have one beer, okay, this sucks. You have another, oh, this sucks. It's like, okay, if I have 1 or 2 bad ones, can I get my money back right now? Seriously, this is fucking terrible. All right, Nick, what do you got? Because down in Virginia, I know the South's a different brewing scene. But before you get to that, though, also joining us, another New Yorker himself, whose headset finally works. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan McCarthy.
I feel like I'm at work. Stupid headset on.
Hey, listen, we're just happy you can make it, buddy.
Thank you.
What are you drinking, Ryan?
I got me a crowler of Sunday Fun Day Watermelon Blonde from Slickfin Brewing up in Fort Edwards, about 25-minute drive from where I am. So
Very nice.
That sounds good.
It's delicious. It's one of my. It's probably my favorite beer. I have to wait till summer when it comes out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why it's a. I don't know why it's not an all year beer, but
Well, I
I
mean,
love it.
listen, my favorite beer doesn't come out until November, so like it's an imperial. It's 8%, 99 HBUs, whatever that like for the bitterness scale. It's like the highest rated.
I'm gonna bring
I
the
love it,
best
though.
mug ever too.
Listen, the fact that the Red Sox went on this crazy win streak and they still haven't even gained more than a half a game in the Yankees. Cheers to the Bronx Bombers, gentlemen. My team may have got you in 0-1, but hell, I love watching you kick the Red Sox ass. I'm a Snakes fan for all of you guys who don't know.
I'll drink for the
Oh,
Nats.
don't boo me. We're small market.
Oh God, the small market discussion. I swear.
Actually, technically we're a mid market, but we should be a large market with our GDP and everything else. Anyway,
What, Phoenix is definitely a large market.
Phoenix is the 5th largest market in America, but yet we're a small market team, which drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's because our ownership group is cheap. That's why we're getting kicked out of Chase Field in 3 years. All right, Nick, I gotta ask the South, because the South is an interesting brewing scene. Because apparently South Florida has a really big growing one. I've heard Atlanta's got better craft beer now. I've only been to Virginia twice in my life, man, and the brewery was very good. The beer I had was very good down there.
Okay. So like Virginia, so I don't consider myself in the South. I'm like Northern Virginia, like DC. There's
That's
a lot of good
South,
breweries. All right.
You're talking to one Connecticut guy and 3 New Yorkers.
I like New York and Connecticut, so I get it. But
Anything south of Arlington is the South.
Fair enough.
I consider anything south of Baltimore.
Listen, if you have a Cracker Barrel and an Arby's, you're south.
Oh,
Or Waffle House.
So does Connecticut. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, we got plenty of those down here. Yeah, no, I mean the craft brew scene, like it's emerging, which kind of means that it sucks, at least in like I would say like part of Virginia, like the central part. There's not really a whole lot going on there, but like if you go to like the outskirts of DC, we got like an offshoot of Other Half Brewing, which is based in Brooklyn, I think.
Amazing.
In DC,
Amazing
it's one of the best beers that I've ever had in my entire life. But Aslan is good. They're based in Alexandria, which is on the outskirts of DC. But when you get like further into Virginia, there's some decent beers here and there, but for the most part, you got to be near the city to really get a lot of good beer.
So when I was down in Shenandoah, there's a brewery that works with that park. They have a couple of beers that are named after like mountains and stuff. I don't remember which brewery it is. That one was amazing. I've had every beer that they offered because their gift shop, they had them in cases. So me and my buddy just loaded up on his Benz with them and drove them back to our campsite.
You don't remember the name of it? Is it Devil's Backbone by chance?
What'd you say?
Devil's Backbone?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a good name.
I had 3 or 4 beers by them. I was like, holy smokes, like everything is good. Well, also, then again, it was 102 degrees in Virginia, so anything would have tasted good at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're in the Norfolk or Virginia Beach area, go to Smart Mouth Brewing. That's a good brewery.
Yeah, we actually had that on, I think it was like 2 episodes ago. We had a Smart Mouth beer that we tried.
Nice. Did you have the Lucky Charms beer?
It was the Lucky Charms beer.
Which one was it? Was it the Lucky Charms or the other?
It was the Lucky Charms one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean it was solid. Yeah, no, I mean there's some local breweries here and there, like the one that I'm having now, Man Brewing. They started like maybe like a year ago, and you know, I mean it's an emerging scene. So, but yeah, like the DC area, I would say is where a lot of the good beer around here is.
Last time I was in DC, I stopped at like 5 breweries. I don't remember a single one of them because I did like a crawl like an idiot. By the last brewery, I don't even remember if I could find my ID or not. So, and I'm not a big DC guy by any stretch, being an Eagles fan and also just not like so.
Being a libertarian.
Yes, that too. I just hate government, period. But maybe the cowboy hat gave it away, McCarthy. So I will say this, Ryan. So we were talking about this before, and Nick's also going to weigh in. Have you been to a brewery where the atmosphere is incredible, but the beer is just dog shit? It is awful.
That's a really great question. I can't say that I have.
Oh, wow.
I can't say that
I have. I can count like 15 on my hand. That's the problem.
Yeah, maybe a handful, but
yeah.
No, I mean, being in near proximity to some of the breweries up here and the breweries in Vermont too. Some of the breweries in Vermont are just absolutely awesome.
Alchemist.
My
Alchemist. Let me
the
think.
Holy Grail.
Long Trail. Long
Long
Trail is
Trail.
also really good.
Oh, yeah, Long
Magic
Trail,
Magic Hat.
Magic
also
Hat's good
super
too.
good.
Yeah.
Magic Hat Stout, it just slaps around like Thanksgiving. It's like one of the best, like when it's getting cold beers.
Long Trail double bag is excellent.
Apparently, if you buy double bag, you let it age in your fridge for a couple months, it tastes even better. I found that out from somebody. I was like, that sounds awesome, but I'm like, I will never let beer age in my fridge. The only beer that I have aging in my fridge is Guinness from St. Patrick's Day.
Is that shelf stable? Is that going to last? Like if you keep it in there for a while?
I guess so. I guess like the only beer they say not to age is their regular ale, like their base model. Like I had one that was maybe a month past expiration date, and it tasted a little funky. Higher in alcohol, apparently, which I thought was hysterical. But they're like, yeah, it ages and it gets a little higher in alcohol. I'm like, but it loses its flavor. I'm like, okay. I was a 22-year-old college kid, in your point. All right. Nick, have you been to a brewery where like literally it just the atmosphere is amazing, but like you're looking around, you're like, this beer sucks, man. I can't do it.
Yeah. So actually, me and my brother, when we've talked about it on the show, I mean, they got some beer that's okay, but like the ambiance is awesome. They got like a bunch of stuff that kind of distracts you from like the actual beer. It's like people go there for trivia, they go there to like play games like pinball and all this stuff that kind of like. Like, wow, this place is awesome. And then you have the beer and it's like, I mean, it's all right. Nothing to write home about. So yeah, and there's another one that is like the opposite. Like it's like out of a garage, but it's some of the best beer I've ever had. So
oh yeah,
kind of like besides the corn.
Oh yeah. You know, so you're talking about other half, right? My first experience, I had other half's broccrockey, which is like the double.
Geez, man.
Oh
yeah,
my god,
yeah.
so damn good. But it's like me and my buddy who works at the liquor store I used to go to all the time. He goes, hey, he texts me, goes, hey, we got other half, and you want to go halves? I'm like, it's a 4-pack. He goes, Jared, it's $23.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm like, holy shit.
Do you know why they call it broccoli?
I mean, I'm guessing some reference to a Little Yachty song, but maybe that's because I'm a little younger than y'all. But
yeah, so it's based on like the extraction process, like the same for like pot. Like you kind of extract like the hash. They do that with the hops.
That's
and
awesome.
So they call it like lupulin powder, I think is what it's called, and it gives like a big hop concentration. But that's why they call it broccoli, is because they extract it the same way you would for like weed. So pretty cool.
That is awesome. All right, fellas. Now let's get to the fun part here because I actually want to hear some stories here. So this is going to be a little different. So everyone's had their beer, like their heaviest, their strongest beer, right? So, but there's always a story behind it. And me, maybe it's the journalism major in me. Maybe it's the guy the host of me. I don't know. I have 2 beers that have clocked over 20. And I'm going to tell you both about them in a second. Both stories are hysterical. I want to hear about your heaviest ABV beer. I'm talking when you're going into the teens, where you had it, how bad your experience was afterward. I'll start. I got honorable mention quick. Bell's, which is one of my favorite breweries. Two Hearted Ale, one of my favorite beers of all time. I could clock a 6-pack in. That's like my party go-to if I'm not driving. They did a double Two Hearted Ale, which was 11.7. I drank a 6-pack of that during the pandemic, and then 2 regular Two Hearted Ales, and then I just don't remember the rest of the night.
I was going to say, those numbers, you're really getting up there. Just
yeah, it gets better. So, beer honorable mention at 19% is the Bourbon County Stout by Goose Island. But hear me out. I had a customer. I used to be a mover. He was a big beer guy. He had 15 of them on his shelf, and we were talking about craft beer for about 20 minutes, like we are now. And he goes, "You want one of these?" I'm like, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll give you one of the more aged ones from 2018. This was 2021. It was a 3-year aged beer, 2019. Either way, it was almost 2.5 years aged. Those beers, they don't tell you about this when you buy them, but the longer you keep them on the shelf, the higher in ABV they go, and they go quickly because it's the way they're brewed, I guess. I looked it up. I looked up on their website and everything else, and I was like, the estimated ABV of this beer went from 16.4 to 21.2 up to 23%.
That's a whole nother beer.
I had a Miller Lite when I got home with dinner, and then I drank this because it was like a dessert, like drinking like chocolate beer. I literally had that beer and was like almost drunk. And I'm like, that was one beer. I woke up the next morning so hungover from the sugar and the alcohol combined, and I had to lift a 700-pound Viking stove out of this lady's basement. Nothing will crank a hangover up 6 notches like lifting heavy weights. But my highest is, they don't tell you because it doesn't say on the label because they don't want to get in trouble for it, is Dogfish 120 minutes.
Yeah.
Its estimated ABV, depending on how long ago it was brewed, can be up to 24% ABV. I bought the last one in my local liquor store. It'd been there for months. I drank that, 2 like basic 6% IPAs, and was out cold. It's during the pandemic. I'm literally playing Xbox with my former co-host Kevin and our other co-host Pat. We're playing like, I think, Call of Duty or something. I can't go anywhere. It's a 25-year-old. It's killing me, right? But I'm sitting there. I'm like, guys, my eyes are closing. I gotta go to bed. I literally got to my bed, lights on, face plant. Wake up the next morning at like maybe 11, and it feels like somebody's jackhammering the side of my head. I had never drank a beer that strong in my life. And the thing is, with Dogfish 120, they don't tell you this, it just tastes like beer mixed with whiskey. That's what it is. It just tastes like a straight liquor poured into it. So
was it a cask ale or was it just
just a straight IPA?
Yeah, they keep introducing more and more hops over and over and over again. And it's just nonstop.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the 120 minutes means, right?
For 2 straight hours, they keep adding hops. As hops absorb, they pull out the hops that have been sitting there, and they keep adding more new hops for 2 straight hours to the barrel.
Yeah.
It's so and the problem was I drank it out of the bottle, and it comes in like not like a bomber, but it comes like a maybe a 16-ounce bottle. You can get them in. I'm just sitting there drinking this thing like a jackass. And it's so funny. About 3 months later, I'm at a pool bar up in Connecticut, and I'm there with a group of friends that just kind of took me, like I was just hanging out with. And there were some other dudes there that like were part of the other side of these people. I didn't know these guys. One dude's talking to me. He's talking about all this crazy shit, and he's drinking one of these things. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I asked what the highest ABV was, and the lady said, this one's high. I don't know what it is. And I looked at him. I'm like, that's like 22. And he goes, oh, great. That means my girl's driving tonight. I'm like, this dude was so sloppy by the night. I think he almost snapped a pool cue on his head.
Nice.
All right, so I got to hear. I may have had one of the higher ones. What y'all got? Y'all got to have some good ones.
Do you want to start and go around the horn here? Or?
Yeah, we'll go around the horn. I think Rook, you've been quiet for a while. Let's you got some more beer. Let's go. What you
I actually just got a different beer. It's one I saved from Christmas, to Xmas. From Southern Tier. It's really good.
That's very nice.
It's 8% alcohol by volume. It's brewed with orange peels, ginger root, cardamom, cinnamon, fig paste, and cloves. It's really good. I love the smell of it.
It's a very Christmassy ale for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of this, the reason why I brought this out was because I have a lot of Christmas beers left over. Was me, Nick, and TJ. We did beer and a take for the 25 days of Christmas. And we would drink a beer and then give a sports take, and then we release it every day. The editing of it was exhausting. Good thing it was like I think I was stuck inside because my wife had COVID, and we just good thing it was just we were lucky because otherwise I would have been exhausted, falling asleep at work. But anyway, so during the pandemic, not during the pandemic, during this period of quarantine, I got I ordered it from Bolero Snort. It's up it's by the Meadowlands in New Jersey. It's they deliver beers to your house as long as you spend $50. So I just bought a bunch of like cans and 4-packs, and they had a special beer. It was I think it was called Bravehorn. So all their beers are named after they're named after something else, but they have a cow twist to it. So they have like the sour, instead of Sour Patch Kids, they have Sour Pasture cows. I'm not probably pronouncing that wrong. But they taste like Sour Patch Kids, the beer. So it's really good. So the Brave Horn was off 14%. It was a bourbon barrel stout.
Nice.
And I'm doing the beer and the take. And like, I always mess up when I talk. So I kept having to redo each like take. And just as I was going on, my words were just slurring. Cause I was like, I'm essentially pounding this thing. Cause I did the take within like 10 minutes. So I'm eventually just like slurring my words. It's like can barely talk. And I'm like, this is the worst. This is the worst, whatever. The beer was incredible though. Like I would get that beer 100% every time though.
Awesome.
Brave Horn by Bolero Snort.
Nice.
Very good.
Nick, I feel like you the smirk on your face. I feel like I got a good story coming from you.
Yeah, so you kind of touched on it. The 120-minute IPA.
It's just evil.
Yeah, so this was actually last year, but before, like, it was the same day, so it was a ski trip. But earlier that day, I had this. It's called Pinkies Up, which is from Aslan Brew Company. It's 18.4%. It's a tall boy.
Now you just
going. So I had that. We were playing some board games, kind of hanging out after a long day on the slopes, and one thing led to another. The clock struck midnight, and like I think it was the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier fight. I think it was like last year, in like January, and my brother's. His brother-in-law popped open a 120-minute IPA at like 12:30 at night. Is like we're already like, we already got one tied on, but it was like it's the fight. We gotta ante up. So had that, and then don't really remember how the fight ended, but
I mean, I do. I was watching that fight. I was probably just as drunk as you were, but I remember the fight. I lost money on it.
I remember being upset. Yeah.
I think because I thought McGregor would last longer than 3 rounds, but that was just my mistake.
I was heavily invested on McGregor, and that's about the extent of me remembering that. I remember just being upset. So.
All right, TJ.
I have a absolute carbon copy of your experience. So the runner-up would be I had the same thing, the Goose Island, bourbon barrel. And it's amazing because I'm a big whiskey guy, a big Scotch guy, a big, bourbon guy. And I was not a big fan of that beer. It was just, something about it that I don't know, just wasn't my thing, but it didn't stop me and my buddy Nick, the other part of our podcast, from killing the 4-pack. Cause obviously they come in 4-packs and 2 in each. We stand up to just go outside and throw the ball around. And I'm like, dude, I'm feeling this after 2. Like, what just happened? He's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on right now. And then we figured it out by started doing the math. What happens when you drink an 18, percent alcohol beer by volume times the ounces that you've had. I'm like, dude, it's like we just took like 8 shots and we killed him in like 20 minutes, 2 beers each in about 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, we're going nowhere, dude. I was like, we got to order a pizza. We're going to have to soak up a little bit.
But those are the best nights, though. When you and your buddy just drink too much, you're like, oh, shit, we got to order delivery. Oh, yeah. We ain't going to get shit.
It's like a delay. It's like, whoa, we just had that much?
Exactly.
I feel it, but I don't feel like I had 8 shots.
Right. Oh, no, not at all. It just – especially because, listen, those bourbon barrels, that's one thing they do very well is they take on that vanilla note very well. Yes. And it's like a heavy, almost like a cream coffee type of mouthfeel as you're, so they go down pretty smooth. It's just they don't hit smooth. But
no,
the 120-minute is my all-time, ass kicker. I had it at a, beer festival, and Dogfish Head happened to be there, which is one of my favorite breweries by far. And walked over, and they had it out of like a little, almost like a hand keg that they brought, and like. What they had of 120 is what they had, and that was it. If you got your sample, great. If you didn't, you didn't. And we all took our samples, and that's the first time I ever had it. And I asked it, I was like, dude, do you clean the machinery with this? Like, what the fuck just happened? Like, why would you do this to me?
Okay.
I was like, holy shit.
So I should have rephrased this. The strongest beer I've ever had, like strongest flavor, was Evil Twin Brewing Double Bozo. It's a 17.9 stout. It comes in a $10 can. And it is just, it tastes like just straight bourbon. I'm a big Diamondbacks fan, right? My step grandfather always takes me to games when they play the Mets. I always almost fight Mets fans every year, but
it's not a hard fight. I mean, come on, it's like walking into a kindergarten classroom.
I'm not a small dude, and I look a little intimidating when I walk out. Tattoos, beard, everything else, and I'm wearing a Snakes hat. I got my belly up shirt on, and I'm literally just feeling it a little bit, right? And I am just like loving it, but it was so damn strong drinking that in the subway on the way over there in a paper bag. I'm like, oh my God. And the worst part was I feel like such a fucking degenerate. I'm just slamming this back and you could smell the liquor. My grandma was looking, she's from the South, right? She's from South Carolina. She looks at me and goes, Jay, what the hell are you drinking? I'm like, beer. And she goes, it smells like the South.
Oh my God. That's fantastic. Those are the best times though, when you get hammered on the way somewhere, or I mean, we missed the ferry. We used to be big, take the ferry into Manhattan and just do the roundabout, go drinking.
Yeah.
And me and my buddy missed the ferry one time, and right there is an awesome, like there's some, it's like a tapas. I believe it's either Spanish or Brazilian or one of those where it's a tapas place, and they had ridiculous sangria. And me and my buddy just, because we missed the ferry, we had a half hour to kill. We drank a pitcher of sangria each, got on the ferry, hammered 2 foil cans of Foster each. And by the time we got to the first bar that we were going to, dude, we were gone before we even started really drinking. I'm like, dude, we got hammered on the way to get hammered. I was like, this is great.
I actually have a funny ferry story because TJ, you know,
right there.
You know how that ferry ride's about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I blew up 28 of those 30 minutes one time off the side of the boat.
So they used to actually have it where it was the beers used to be like 24 ounces instead of, I think they lowered it to 18 eventually.
Yeah.
But we would call them Ferry Busters. And that was like the name of our softball team for the longest time. The Ferry Busters. And we call them Ferry Busters because they would bust up the ride. You would just get drunk during the ferry ride. So we actually had a record. One of our friends drank 3.5 24 ounces in the span of 30 minutes.
That is amazing.
And I was like, holy shit. It can't be beat. I tried can't do it.
I mean, I may have one at the top before we get to McCarthy's story. I had a buddy of mine. He was the backup left tackle at my college. He shotgunned 3-4 locos in an hour.
Wow.
Damn.
And the dude still went to a party after. I ran to a party 2 hours later. I'm like, Max, how are you alive? He goes, dude, I just killed a 6er of Bud Light Platinums. I'm still good, bro. I'm like...
Those 4 locos were gross, and the only reason I ever tried one because they're like, "Yo, they're banning these." I'm like, "Oh man, I got to try one then. It might be good."
Yeah, they're.
It's amazing how they put out anything
like dog shit.
Anything that hits the media that's like, "We're banning this." It's like, dude, I got to load up.
Jewel Pods the last 6 weeks have sold out everywhere.
Yeah,
it's hysterical. The knockoff Jewel Pods are actually selling out now. Which I find utterly hilarious. R.I.P. to my boy Kev. Anyway. Ryan, what is your big heavy alcohol beer story?
Well, I used to do what I call my traditional beer and chicken runs, and what I would do is I'd travel down to Rehoboth Beach. I'd go to Dogfish Brewery.
Hell yeah!
I'd go to Dogfish Brewings and Eats, and then I'd pick up some Chick-fil-A and drive all the way back up to New York.
Oh shit!
So that is fucking awesome.
That's crazy.
Next time you're making that run, please let me know. I will supply gas money.
How long is that?
I'll come down with you.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it.
How long is that ride? How long is that ride?
The ride from my house to Rehoboth is about 6 hours.
Damn, you do just
that's a lot of Chick-fil-A and beer, man.
Yeah, it's worth it.
That sounds like it's worth it. Yeah, it definitely is.
But the first time I went to Rehoboth was when the original Dogfish Brewings and Eats was there, when it was a little bit smaller and it's a little bit more hole in the wallish. And I was I had my beer, a couple beers, and had my dinner and had dessert, and I said, "Oh, I want to try the Worldwide Stout."
Oh boy!
It was the Worldwide Stout, but it was the cask edition.
Nice.
And that's anywhere between like 18 to 20%. And I didn't feel it at first, but I up to go to the bathroom, and I said, "Why is the room spinning?" So I sat back down real quick just to kind of get my bearings, and hop over to the bathroom. But I love Dogfish Brewing. It's one of my favorite beers.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, I'm hoping to make my way to there's some. I'm trying to hopefully make my way there some other time, but another time. But that was my annual beer and chicken run. And it was always around mid-March when I got my bonus from work. Head down to the brewery, stay overnight, come back up, grab Chick-fil-A, and come back up north. That was
See, I'm more of a Popeyes guy, but I do appreciate the Chick-fil-A.
Well, now that we're actually getting Chick-fil-A, I can't
do it
anymore. But
let's be honest, I'm more like, listen, I'll get Church's chicken. I just gotta go into the worst neighborhood to go get it.
Oh, and I got a chance to study Dogfish Inn in Lewis one year.
Oh,
that's a nice place. I stayed in the David Bowie room.
Nice. I haven't been able to find Dogfish Head Midas Touch anywhere over the past year. And like I asked some of the, local spots that I get my, craft beers from and that are, are typical craft beer spots, hipster spots. And they just look at me like, Midas Touch? I'm like, dude, really? I'm like, don't do that to me.
What?
Don't be like that.
Come on.
Don't look at me like I'm fucking crazy. Please. Like, get me that shit.
One of my favorite beers from Dogfish Head is the Bitches Brew, which was from the re-release of Miles Davis's Bitches Brew, the Witches Brew.
Over that, yeah.
Great beer. Beer.
I heard. I never got to have it, but I had a buddy of mine. He's a little older than me. He literally said, he goes, dude, I literally drove to Dogfish for that shit. I'm like, you drove 7 hours to the Dogfish Brewery for that shit? He goes, I'm like,
I made a really stupid drive one time to the middle of Pennsylvania. Not the middle, it was Bethlehem, but it was just a weird run after we used to have this place in Staten Island called Adobe Blues, and they had like 200 beers on their list, and every time you went in there they like stamp your friggin' card, and if you got all the way through, you got different things, and the beer list was always updating. And they had this beer that was like a traditional Mexican style lager that had a friggin' chili in it. Like a chili pepper in the beer. Yep. And it was spicy in
I've had that one.
The best ways. Dude, I asked the owner, he was out over there BS with me, and he's like, we can't get it anymore. He goes, I think they went under. He's like, but I'll let you know where we buy it from.
This was a couple years ago, right? This is
like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe a little less.
So I had a buddy of mine sneak me this beer in high school.
Yeah.
He stole it out of his dad's fridge.
Dude, it was
I don't know if that kid's alive anymore now.
Dude, unlike any other, it's the weirdest thing in the world because it was crisp and refreshing, especially ice cold. Throw a little salt on the edge and a lime, and then with that chili, it just goes. And when he told me they can't get it anymore and he thinks that the beer went under, told me his rep, called up. The guy's like, listen, we get it from this place in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Shoot out there, grabbed 2 cases of it and brought it home. And for like a month and a half, dude, my stomach hated me because I was just cranking these chili beers.
Yeah. So TJ, for that chili beer, was it like a bottle? Like, so you could actually see like the chili?
Yes, you could see right through. It was a clear bottle.
Yeah.
I had that in college. Like, there's like this craft brew, like beer shop that we would go to. And I was like, just for the novelty of it, I'm going to get this fucking chili beer. And this fucking
dude, if you like spicy and you're into that like Mexican style lager, where I mean, listen, I like chiladas, I like micheladas, I love all that crazy funky stuff with my Mexican style lager. So I had this thing and I was hooked. It was bad. My wife came with me at the time we were just dating, and she's like, "Do you have a problem? We're driving like 2.5 hours for you to get a case of beer." I'm like, they're not going to have it anymore. We need to get as much as we can.
Load up.
I mean, listen, like, I go to Martha's Vineyard every year, right? I love the island so much. I have it tattooed in my forearm. Bad Martha's has their summer ale, and it's it's a good brewery when some years the batch is good, some years the batch ain't as good.
Mm-hmm.
There was one year the batch was like electric of the summer ale. I had bought 3 cases, took it back to Connecticut with me. I drank it within a month stretch, but my parents, being the amazing people they are, brought back another case when they went.
Nice.
It was just such an amazing beer. And that's listen, if it's a good beer, you never are an alcoholic if you go for good beer.
Oh yeah,
I agree with that.
I will also say this is the guy who drank a chili beer at 18 when he was at his buddy's house. So
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it is.
Listen, salt lime lagers are my go-to during the summer. Stone makes my favorite, though. Buena Vesa. It is my go. Also, less calories than a Bud Light for those who are trying to cut weight and you want to drink beer. That's my go-to.
That's Dogfish Head for me. Dogfish Head Sequence Ale. Maybe
that's
limes and
awesome.
the
Yeah.
salt.
Mhm.
One of the originals.
People look at me like I'm absolutely like out of my mind in the summertime when I have that in the cooler. But you come over my house and you're not into it, it's like good. More for me. The Coronas are over there. Have a good time.
Yeah, drink your Coronas or your Michelob Ultras. Let me have my Sequench.
Did you guys hear about Stone Brewing? Like came out like the past few days. They just got bought out by Sapporo.
Oh, shit.
Like Sapporo beer, but yeah. So their whole facility is just getting absorbed.
Wow.
It means their beer's gonna go to shit now.
Yeah.
You know what I used to love is they used to have the
Sapporo's good at a if you're going for sushi.
Yeah, right.
Listen, Sapporo's a great beer. It's just
It is a good
anytime
beer.
you bring a craft brew and you make it mass production, it always lacks that
Done.
thing that made
It's
it great.
done.
Yeah,
That was my biggest fear with Dogfish when they merged with Sam
FML.
Adams.
My favorite Stone Brewery moment is I accidentally bought some FML, Fear Movie Lions, which is just it's a 6-pack of tall boys that are 9% alcohol. For a kid like me who just wanted to get screwed up in 6 beers or less, it was the perfect package when I was broke in college.
Yeah.
So FMLs, I would literally just buy that. I'd buy a 30-rack of Miller. I'd be good for the whole weekend.
there you go, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. Oh, sorry, I was going to talk.
Oh no, you go, Rook. You're good.
TJ talking about how driving the middle of Pennsylvania. Me and my wife, we my firstborn, we did like kind of like a baby moon, but we went to Lancaster for the weekend. Yeah. And on the way there, I was like, "Hey, babe, do you mind if we stop at the Yingling Brewery?"
That a boy.
Nice.
That a boy.
Hershey,
she's like,
right?
Yeah, she's like sick. What was that? Sorry.
Hershey.
Yeah, it's on the way to Hershey. It's
okay.
It's in Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yeah.
You can take it to get through. You eventually get to Hershey because that's what we did. We did Hershey, Lancaster.
DuClaw's on the way to Hershey.
I don't think I did that one.
I think they did like a porter with like Hershey chocolate.
Dude,
amazing.
Hershey's porter.
It is some of the best beer I've ever had.
On that note,
Yingling.
I wanted to jump in so bad with that because we started a tradition with my son. We started doing Hershey Park for Halloween. Instead of walking around my neighborhood and like, oh yeah, free candy, blah, 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 blah. And then friggin' looking at it for 2 months and I'm the only asshole eating it and I'm just getting fat. I'm like, the hell with this. We're going to Hershey Park and we're going to, if we want real chocolate, we got as much real chocolate as we want. So we stay at the Hershey Hotel right there. And I walk down to the bar and they have it on tap. And it was like the equivalent of being a kid and having hot chocolate on like a morning where it starts snowing and you're about to go outside and bomb down a hill and blast each other with ice balls and snowballs and but ice cold and just hits the spot. Pure chocolate. I was really good friends with the bartender that weekend.
Oh my god!
I need to make a correction. It's not DuClaw that's near Hershey. It's Trogs.
Trogs, yeah.
Trogs right outside of Hershey. Literally on the same block as
Ryan, you missed it. I
told
told him my Trogs story about me going to Trogs, having 13% stouts, and then going to Taco Bell and ordering $40 worth of Taco Bell.
That Taco Bell's across the street too. I think I've seen it before.
Yeah, I didn't see it either until my buddy's like, dude, I can't drive, so we gotta walk. And we look over, hey, there's Taco Bell.
It's
I was
right
playing
there.
Frogger across 5 lanes of traffic. Oh my god! All right. So with that note, with the chocolate beers, we're talking about favorite beers now, gentlemen. Like your favorite craft beer. Like if you get a hold of it, it's the best thing. I have my favorite craft beer. I have to drive across county lines because they will not sell it in New Haven County, Connecticut. They only sell it in Fairfield and Litchfield County, and also because the liquor store that my buddy works at, his owner pissed off their rep. So. Mine is Skullhammer by Finch Brewing in Chicago. I drink it every Christmas. My brother-in-law, I usually buy about 4 or 5 4-packs at a clip because it is a very hard beer to find. Our Christmas starts off with me and him slamming one back and then slamming another one back at 11:30 in the morning when we get to my grandparents' house, and that's how our Christmas starts. It is 99 HBUs, so it's very bitter. It's very strong. It's a good winter beer. 8% Imperial, and it just hits the spot. It is the clearest IPA I've ever seen in my life. There is no soot, nothing. It is like I could literally read a fucking paragraph through it. And you know what? It does the job. Super Bowl this year, Bengals, Rams. I drank 5 of them, and I just also that and my Cajun butter wings, which recipe will be on my Twitter eventually.
Nice.
But yeah, no, your boy can cook. Don't worry. But yeah, no, it's my go-to winter beer. I love that stuff. What is your go-to beer? Your favorite all-time craft beer? We'll start with McCarthy.
Well, I'm going back there this summer in late August, and it's one of my favorite breweries in Outer Banks, North Carolina. It's the brewery called Weeping Radish. I discovered it the first time I went down there in 2011, and they make this Kolsch style beer. It is super drinkable. Like on a hot day, it's definitely a lawnmower beer. It's definitely a beach beer, and I bring cases back when I go to North Carolina. I bring cases back not only of this Kolsch, it's called OBX beers, Kolsch, but also bring back their amber, some of their. I try to bring back as much beer as I can from that brewery because it's the first microbrewery in North Carolina, so it's an amazing beer. It's great side beer, and I'm highly looking forward to trying it again when I go back to North Carolina in late August. So that's my favorite craft brew. I also like the salted porter from Smart Mouth Brewing in Norfolk. That was also really, really good. I like that a lot.
All right,
sounds good.
TJ,
and of course the watermelon blonde from Slickfin Brewing.
Not very nice push.
Veteran.
With that in mind, the Voodoo Hop Drop from Witch Doctor definitely hits.
Man Brewing.
Veteran source is pretty good too.
Veteran owned, veteran operated. The guy who owns the brewery is a former. He used to detonate IEDs in Iraq.
Oh wow!
Like dude's a hero.
Oh yeah, I'll buy beer from him even if it tastes like crap. So that's
come on up,
yeah,
come on up,
absolutely.
Man.
Alrighty, TJ, what you got?
So, I think it's I don't know if it's like a mental thing where if you're on vacation and you're having a good time and you discover like a new brewery, it just becomes like the shit automatically. And for the past 2 years, we've gone down to the sandhills of North Carolina, Southern Pines, and did a golf trip with the boys, my brother, my 2 cousins, and we discovered this brewery. Awesome, laid back, country music playing, sitting around a patio outside, just, in the crisp southern air. And everything I've ever had from them sitting there, just trying the gauntlet of whatever they have on tap has been phenomenal. So Southern Pines Brewery down in North Carolina, in the Sandhills of North Carolina, it's the right place, right time, hit the spot, and I've never had anything bad from there. So the only other runner-up I would say from locally around here is we have a Southern barbecue place on Staten Island that has a pickle brine Pilsner. And it's literally, that's what it is. It's a Pilsner infused with like a dill pickle brine in it. And it is a salty, pickly, just hits the spot, ice cold. Dude, I don't know why people think it's disgusting. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, no, you kidding me? Sign me the fuck up. Holy shit. That sounds amazing.
Dude, it's one of those things where it's like, I looked at them, I'm like, you don't do growlers of this. I was like, you can't just sell me like 4 beers and I can pour it in the growler right now. They're like, no, we don't do that. And I was like, dude, I'll bring in, you can't do a 7-Eleven. Like if I bring in one of those like fill up pools and you top it off and I just give you my wallet.
Millionaire business idea. If Belly Up is struggling to make cash down the road, we open up a brewery and you listen, we'll brew the beer. You just bring in a container. We got you.
There'll be nothing left for everybody else.
Any container.
Some dude's going to come in with a goddamn like Yeti cooler with a pull tab on it.
Dude, all I'm thinking of is Beer Fest where he's at the bottom of the vat and he's just taking it all in.
Twin buries his widow.
I had one time, listen, back when the growlers were a big thing before people, like all these breweries started doing cans, my old man brought in 4 growlers to fill up for Christmas Eve, man. And then I went to Witch Doctor they used to have this amber ale called Popper's Porridge. It was like this very caramelly amber ale, and it was about 5.5. So it definitely got you a little going after a couple because it was a really easy drinker. Me and my brother-in-law drove up, grabbed 3 or 4 growlers of that. My dad grabbed 3 or 4 growlers from Blackhawk down here by me. So, like, literally, our beer table was stuff from, like, Man Brewing, where my uncle's from North Jersey. He's from the Patterson area. Wayne and all that stuff, all you Staten Island boys know where Wayne and Patterson are.
Yep.
So then we also had all the Cape May Brewing and the Cane Brewing. Then we had all the growlers. And all I remember is that Christmas having to almost be blackout drunk, doing the collections at midnight mass. That was the most terrifying experience of my entire life. Me and my brother-in-law, who are both so drunk, I can't even speak correctly. I'm just like, here you go, sir.
That could have taken a far worse turn, though. You could have got the beer muscles and be like, really? $10 for Jesus? Are you shitting me right now?
Only 10, you cheapskate. Come on.
Listen, the last time I got the beer
Put your
muscle,
golden cross in there.
The last time I got the beer muscle, I threw a kid off a porch. So, and he deserved it.
I hope it was a high porch.
No, it was short. I didn't get sued. That's the good part.
That's true.
That is
I live
definitely
in
a good
Connecticut.
part.
Everyone knows a lawyer in Connecticut.
Rook's my lawyer.
3. I know 3. Yeah, no, now I know 4 because Rook's my lawyer.
Yeah, if you ever have any trouble in New Jersey, let me know.
Hey, listen, I got a lot of family in New Jersey. It works.
Same.
Oh man. All right, gentlemen, we have already clocked an hour. It's been a great show so far. But now let's talk about beer. We're gonna talk about
you didn't get Nick or Rook with their
yes, right. Jesus Christ, we went on a rant. Gentlemen, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's okay.
I didn't want to say anything.
No, Rook sold out with his merchandise. He doesn't count anymore. Nah. Dude says the brewery sucks. Dude says the brewery sucks, and then is wearing his fucking hat. I love it.
No, not this one. This one's
not
actually really
Source.
good.
Oh, okay.
That was
okay.
alternate ending.
That's
Source is
Alternate
legit.
ending. I've never bought
Alternate
it.
ending.
Sellout.
Okay, I've actually driven by alternate ending, and that's why I found that fucking hysterical. I never went in. I was like, "Ooh, a brewery, alternate ending." It's okay. It sounds kind of douchey.
Go for the food, not for the beer.
I ended up stopping at like a steakhouse, like a couple miles down the road, and I asked somebody, like, "Yeah, it ain't that good." I'm like, "All right, cool." I kept driving.
Right down the road, Big Ed's Barbecue. All you can eat ribs. Can't go wrong.
I passed Big Ed's. That's the worst part. Now I wish I knew that. Now
Big Ed's. Oh, Big Ed's is great down there.
God.
The funny thing is, I was going to let you go, Jared, because I forgot the question was.
It's what's your favorite beer? Nick, what is your favorite craft beer of all time? This is perfect, guys. This means we're doing good on the show.
Yeah. Going off on tangents and shit. So my favorite beer, it was already mentioned, but it's from Alchemist. It's called Heady Topper. Yes. If you've ever heard of it or had it.
Brings up the Holy Grail.
It's I hate to kind of like have like a cop out answer. If you guys are on Untapped, that's like the creme de la creme. It's like number one.
I've never had it. Now I'm all ears.
TJ and Rook, I will buy you a 4-pack to New York. I will buy you together, buddy. I'll meet you in Connecticut or in like New York somewhere.
So
I've had Alchemist before. I haven't had that one though.
I forgot what
it's the Holy Grail.
But yeah, so the first time I had it was at like Ocean City, Maryland. My cousin, like, we do like beer swaps, and he got me like, I think it was like 12 different craft beers from around like New England and things like that. And that was all I was drinking on the beach, which after a few like IPAs, that's kind of not really like beach type beer. You know what I mean? You kind of want to have like something light, like a Corona. But the entire weekend, that's all I was drinking was just like heavy IPAs. But I started off with Heady Topper, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And it says on the can.
You go down after that.
Yeah, and it says on the can to not pour it in a glass. They want you to drink it out of the can because it has like residual hops and like particulates in the bottom of the can. So they kind of want you to drink it from the can to get the whole profile and characteristic that they're going for. And
the problem is
it's next level. It's fucking crazy.
Nick, nice. I have a friend of mine. She's like a big sister to me. She's like, "You have Heady Topper's your favorite beer." She goes, "You have Heady Topper?" I'm like, "Yeah." I had my buddy worked at a liquor store, and I was maybe or may not. This may have almost gotten him fired. I got a case of it. I may have paid a little extra money on the side to pay for his gas that week. I didn't care. This was back in 2020 when gas was like $1.80 a gallon. And I literally walk in, hands me a case. I walk out, hand him like $110, whatever. And I show up with her house with a 4-pack. She pours one into a goddamn glass, and I almost blew a gasket. And then she berated me about the 2020 election, and so that's a whole other story.
It clearly says on the can to not.
Yeah, and then she berated me about the 2020 election. Let's just see how that conversation went. So yeah, it was a rough night altogether. Rook, what do you got? I just lost my cell phone, so it's every one of those nights.
It's fun. I don't really like. I'm trying to think because me and my brother always have like how you were saying like beer swaps. Like we just always like we get together for a family event. Like Christmas Eve is always drinking any type of beer we have. Our cousin's husband used to work at 6 Point.
Oh
so
my
I would have
God.
said 6 Point is a shameless plug. 6 Point, we've
Love
been
6
there.
Point.
He got us
Sweet action
there.
all
They were
day.
amazing. He was like one of the brewmasters there, and it was such a good beer. He would always bring us the special selection beer. They used to have on their app every 2 months. They would release a beer specially made, and I'd be like, oh, I always keep missing it. I don't have time to get all the way out to 6 Point because out in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and Christmas would come, and he would give us 2 6-packs each with all the special beers from the year. It was fucking awesome. It was like such a great connection. So now he works at Peekskill Brewery.
Good
brewery. I haven't been there yet. I have to check that out.
Their IPAs, their base IPA is phenomenal.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
I had it when I was up in oh God, I was up by it's like the trout capital of the world. What's it called again? Shit, I can't think of it right now. It's off of 87 North. I can't think of it right now. Swan Lake up in that area.
Yeah,
Either way, I had one of the beers at a liquor store. I grabbed it at a bar, and it was incredible. I had like 7 glasses of it. Either way, but that is awesome. All right, gentlemen, we've talked a lot about craft beer. Let's talk about let's give a little love to the beer that may not cost as much, but definitely gets the job done. At barbecues.
Hell yeah.
Sporting events. When you're at the beach and your wife says your budget's only this much for beer. Let's talk about the cheapies. All right, gentlemen, what is your go-to 30 rack? We'll start with Rook.
That kind of limits it a little bit if you're going.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the thing. It could be anything from Natty Ice to freaking Miller Lite, man.
Yeah, you were dialing it down. I didn't think we were going that far down.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I find case.
You're going volume off. I was going like
case 24. If you can't get in a 24 or an 18, it should not count in this reference.
You know what?
That isn't cheap beer, you bastard. That just means you have a lot of money.
So you know what I like? Because obviously we're in the Northeast over here, but Rolling Rock is like one of my favorite.
Dude, that was mine.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll give you another one too, though. Because we have a thing my friends
Lone Star is great, by the way.
Lone Star is very good too.
Lone Star slaps. My boy Trevor's obsessed with it.
Yeah, we me and my friends have a thing we call White Trash Weekend. We go up to Pennsylvania for the weekend. We used to go to NASCAR races. We don't do that anymore. We just because the NASCAR race changed, so we call White Trash Weekend. So we usually get like Miller High Life or like Miller Lights,
champagne and beers, bro. That's not low class.
That's not low class.
It's not low class. Or we get the banquet beer. The Coors banquet beer.
Ooh. Watch your mouth. That's my go-to.
Banquet beer is awesome. That's very
Yellow
good.
Jackets, baby. That's my. Listen. Full disclosure. Yellow Jacket. Literally, I have a 30 rack waiting for my 4th of July vacation. The Poconos is right there across this wall. That's my go-to. Nick, you're shaking your head. I know you're too high class for this conversation.
No, high class is in so. Rolling Rock was going to be my answer, but I was going to also go with the Champagne of Beers Miller High Life.
Okay.
So when I was in New York with my buddy, it's kind of hazy now that I'm kind of recounting it right now, but we went to this bar towards like the end of the night, and he asked for like a Miller High Life, and they brought it out, and it was almost like a champagne bottle.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it was
tremendous.
Literally like a big ass bottle, and they're like, and like they were pouring it in a glass. It's like, she was like, "Do you want to smell the cork? Like, just fucking with us?" It's like, "Nah,
this is $3, gentlemen. Can you afford it?
Would you like a sip before I give you the bottle?" It was awesome, but yeah,
I mean, orders only for payment,
and it tastes good too, man. Like I like to think of myself as a beer snob in like the least annoying way possible, but Miller High Life is fucking slaps.
Oh, no, Miller High Life hits, right? Ice cold Miller High Life. Definitely. You cannot doubt it hits. Warm Miller High Life tastes like death.
Well, yeah.
You said that, yeah.
The best I used to there was a bar in Staten Island that used to have Miller High Life draft for $1.50 a pint.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I would go without cash, and they always have a $20 minimum.
Like, dude,
how drunk do I have to get to reach the minimum?
That's how they get you, the $20 minimum.
That's
Yeah.
my favorite part about Pennsylvania, dude. You go to Pennsylvania and a lot of the hotels in the Pocono area, it's like, oh yeah, the Yingling Draft are $2.25. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm game.
Around
That's
State
where I'm
College.
going in like 3 days, man. You're getting me excited.
Like
We're gonna go to middle Pennsylvania where the beer flows like wine.
Hey,
Bro,
Chad, where in the
listen,
Poconos you
I
going?
might drop a case of Yingling before I even get to my freaking destination.
That's a
Chad,
great.
where in the Poconos are you going?
Oh Jesus, Albrightsville, I think.
I'll be in the Poconos too this weekend. I'll be in Gouldsboro, Scranton area.
I may have to sneak up and do a meet and greet with you over there, Rook. We'll do an Instagram shot together.
Yeah.
If my friends listen, if my friends are pissing me off, I'll text you.
Yeah. There's a good brewery though, Barley Creek in that area.
Oh, okay. So maybe because I have to bring my car because I have to drive home because start a new job. I couldn't be smart enough to say, hey, to the recruiter, hey, I know you just fired a guy to give me the job. Listen, can you like make me come in Wednesday so I can actually stay on my full vacation? No, okay, Tuesday, fine.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it.
This is America.
Okay, these people literally called me 30 minutes later. I'm in the gym on the shitter when they called me to tell me I got the job. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Creatine dump?
No, not even.
Fight
Straight
milk.
black coffee at that point.
He's drinking fight milk. He's puking on his dick.
That's how you cut weight.
And the problem is like
cut weight drink at the UFC.
the owner of the company's son is like one of my best friends. And literally I told him that story last week. He goes, I'm telling everybody the fucking company is. I'm like, I'm gonna strangle your midget ass. Fuck you. Oh my god. Oh man, yeah, Rook, we'll talk, man, because I'll be listen. If my friends are pissing me off, I might meet you at a brewery somewhere.
Save my wife.
I know it's a Midwest thing, but I recently just got into it this year, and my go-to cheapie now is like Busch and Busch Light. It just
Busch Light hits. I'm not gonna lie,
dude. It's just, I mean, you walk in, and I think the last 12-pack I got real quick, I walked out. It was like $8.78.
I paid $9.50 up here in Connecticut.
It was like, thank you so much. I'll see you in a day.
That's insane. Even when I was down at Blacksburg at Virginia Tech, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, Jenny Light was like the go-to. Or Jenny Cream Ale.
Yes, Jenny Cream Ale.
Jenny Cream Ale.
I think it was $12.
Oh yeah, those are cheap.
But like it's Jenny, so it's like, do I really bite the bullet for this $12 or?
You do the shots of alcohol beforehand, then you drink the Jenny Cream.
Or do I splurge and I go for the $14? I think you go for you spend that $2 on the keystone.
$14. What this 4-pack cost me?
I know it's crazy now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This crowler was, I think, 16.
There's nothing like a white trash weekend where if there's a place in Jersey not too far from Staten Island that we used to go to as a kid, and it slowly degraded into like super white trash called Keensburg, and they have like rides for the kids and stuff. And we took my son there because it was like, whatever, it's little stupid kiddie rides. You got a fucking batting cage. It's right on the beach. It's cool. It's not in Staten Island, so let's just get the hell out of here and go down there. And like, I'm like sitting there like, was it always this bad? Like, wow, okay, whatever. Walk into the little, fenced-in beer garden that they have, and it's like, oh yeah, Coors Lights are $1 on draft. It's like, okay, here's $5.
Coors Light is great for the simple reason that like when you're
gotta be ice cold.
It's So there used to be a special at the Total line by my college. A 6-pack of their 16 ounces was $6 every Thursday, and I'd walk in, I'd grab a 6-pack. No, let me get this straight. I was 20 years old. My buddy who was 21 would walk in, get me that, a 12-pack higher alcohol, and walk out for $20. I'd be set for the whole weekend. I dropped one time before a party. I dropped 6 of those before I even got to the party. Nice. I was ready to rock and roll, man. I was good. Oh man, that's the only time I really fuck with Coors. I mean, I drink it now occasionally, but Coors Banquet is my go-to, if not that Miller Lite. I notice how nobody said Bud Light so far, and I'm all you're getting a lot of love out of me right now.
I'm a Budweiser over Bud Light. I don't like Bud Light at all. I can drink original Bud.
I have a take. Busch Light tastes like what Budweiser Light should taste like.
Yes.
Yes, I'm not wrong about that, right? It tastes
No,
like
not at
Budweiser
all.
Light.
There's
They're the
something.
same company.
They make
They're owned by the
Bush,
same
right?
company.
Yeah,
I
they
know.
make-
It's all Anheuser-Busch, but there's something,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's true or not, but people swear like, oh, dude, there's formaldehyde in Bud Light. There's a flavor to Bud Light that doesn't taste right, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
I will
It's
drink
chloroform.
I will, yeah. I wish.
Bud Light cans are for
Get me
shooting
knocked out
holes in with a
faster.
rifle.
Dude,
This
give me
may be the
Budweiser
country
all
boy
day.
in me. This may be the country boy in me. Bud Light cans are for shooting holes in.
Yeah, I can't. When I go to especially when we were younger and we do a lot of house parties, if it was Bud Light instead of like Coors Light or just Natty or something cheap or PBR, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. No beer,
be just
no games, no nothing. Because Bud Light gets me.
Really?
I feel
You-
sick.
Every Bud Light
Absolutely.
keg party I've been to, I've always left with the worst hangover. And it's
Yeah,
never,
horrible headaches.
like a Miller. I went to a Miller Lite cake party once. By the way, it was like at some rich kid's house in Fairfield. It's like, oh yeah, we went cheap tonight. We got Miller Lite. And I'm like, what the fuck am I at right now?
Yeah, right.
It's like, I went cheap, and of course, me pulling my beat up little Honda. These fuckers all driving like Benzes, and I talk about Aston Martins, Maseratis. One kid drove in a Ferrari, and this kid pulls up in a then there's a section of G wagons up on the hill, and I'm saying like I'm in the wrong house, man. And they're like, oh yeah, we went cheap today with Miller Lite. I'm like, yo, these kids ain't ready for me
Yeah,
with
right.
Miller
That's
Lite,
cheap.
man.
I got to go put my Oxfords on out of my trunk and get all spiffy for this.
Bro,
Miller
I
Lite.
showed up in shit because he said it was
My
a
penny
bonfire.
loafers.
He showed up, it was a bonfire. I showed up with shit kickers, jeans, and a mesh bag hat. I had
Nice.
about maybe half a tin of coke in my mouth, ready to rock and
Nice.
roll.
Nice.
This
You
is
came
back
to
when I
party.
used to dip. I was ready to go.
What's
They
Ryan's cheap beer? I want to hear Ryan.
I'm excited for this, actually.
My go-to for cheaps are Labatt or Labatt Blue Light.
Really?
Wow. How about cheap is that?
Oh.
How much is that for 30 pack?
From the
Up
Communist
here-
Republic of Canada.
Yeah,
Well, it could possibly be the partial Canadian enemy, so
it could be.
it could be. Thanks, Grandma Gertrude. No, but I think a 30 or a 24 goes for about $15 up here.
I was gonna
shit,
say,
That's
not
not
bad
cheap
at all.
enough.
I was going to say you started with you're like 30 or 24, so I assume you were going sub.
I
That's still
was
not
trying to
bad.
think of the price in my head, so
I like Canadian beer. I love Labatt. I love Moose and
Moosehead.
Molson.
Moosehead slaps.
Wow,
Dude, Molson is my shit. I got hammered off of, I think it was like Molson Golden, or Molson Golden was like Molson Triple X or something like that. And I just got
one of those two,
hammered.
yeah.
Oh my God. I think I was like 17, 18, got wrecked. And we went to my cousin's house to like just be like, yo, you come out and hang out. And I walked in and my aunt and uncle are sitting there staring at me, and I'm thinking I'm all smooth and shit. My cousin's like, yo, dude, you're wrecked. Everybody knows. They're hysterical laughing
Everyone
right
has
now.
had that story.
Yeah.
Where they
I was
think
like,
they're
no,
good
I
to
played it
go.
off
Dude,
so
I'm
good. He's
fine.
like, dude, he's like, you were not good. You're done. You're gone. You're getting a
Oh
phone
my
call.
God.
your
man.
inner monologue tells you otherwise. It's like
Yeah, everyone thinks so. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
That's what we call liquid courage.
Oh yeah, I probably dropped like 37 f-bombs in the 5
I was
seconds
so
span I was
smooth.
talking.
You were just you were
Yeah,
gone,
the difference
dude.
between sober, what I think I am and what I actually am is just a whole. My favorite is like you have like friends who record a video or Snapchats or whatever of the party the night before, and I would love seeing them in college. I'm like, oh yeah, I wasn't that trash. I see me trying to do a cartwheel in the middle of the house party, like being. I'm like, what the fuck?
yeah,
You know what it hits you? It hits you when you're like you have to pee and you look in the bathroom mirror and you're
yeah.
like,
You
"God,
talk with
so
yourself.
I see 3 of me, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, like,
My
I
fa-
am fucked.
You're like, you gotta get your shit.
That was my
together.
birthday
yeah.
last year.
My
At,
favorite was
beer garden, Schenectady.
my
I had not
senior
spooned like 4 beers after.
Nice. My senior year of college, I took my little sister and her now he's my soon-to-be brother-in-law to their first college party, and so me and my roommate got him in. They're our buddies, and so my sister videotaped me doing a one-armed keg stand, and she was like so impressed and so proud. I'm like, I feel like a horrible human being for doing this right now, but there's my sister literally drinking like just like her Bud Light Lime-A-Ritas or whatever, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh
God.
god. And
Do they still even make those? Like,
well, they were the 25 ounces, the big ones, right?
They
And
do
so
still
it-
make them, by the way,
Yeah.
because I just bought one this weekend because I was like, oh shit, Lime-A-Ritas.
Yeah.
Give me
And
a
I don't know.
boys.
Okay, so she was a senior in high school. I don't know who got them for her. Allegedly, I don't know who got them for her. But basically, so when my buddy's talking,
Allegedly.
who's that girl with the red hair by the keg videotaping? I'm like, that's my sister, bro. She's 18. And he goes, oh shit, my bad. That was the best thing I heard all night was, yo, she 18, bro. That's her boyfriend, and I'm her brother. And she goes, oh fuck, okay.
Don't hit me, please.
There was one dude who, that was my favorite part. Apparently, at that house party, like 6 dudes went and talked to her. She goes, bye bye.
So we're talking about like shitty tall boys, like you said, Lima Marita tall boys. Me, my
That's
brother,
not
and
shitty.
Steel Reserve, baby.
Yeah, I didn't want to like go against you, but dude, they're kind of come on.
What, Limeritas?
I prefer a seltzer, like one of the Bud Light seltzers.
Yes.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, but also then again, okay, Nick, then again,
Limeritas.
okay. Bud Light, like the whole seltzer craze didn't come out until like right before the pandemic. So basically, back when we were talking about this, Limeritas were the seltzers back in the day.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, so I think a Limerita is like the perfect go-to when if you want a margarita, but you're like, I'm not fucking taking out a blender right now, so suck it. Give me one of those out of the can. That'll do.
That's fair. All right.
You know what I mean? It's not. It's a like the. You're looking for the situation, not saying that's like, oh my god, we have to get that. That's the greatest thing in the can. No, it's like I want a margarita right now, but I'm just too fucking lazy.
Like, it fits like a venue. If you're like at a concert, it's like, oh, they got a Limerita, and I'm kind of in the mood. I don't want a margarita, but I got you.
See, I was at a Whiskey Myers concert like 2 months ago, right? It's my favorite band. I love them. That's Texas country, like F the government, rifles, cowboy hats, and everything else in between. So I'm sitting there. My boys are drinking like Paps, and I'm like, okay, I don't need holes in my stomach. I'm going to go with Yinglings all night. I think I had like 5 or 6 Yingling tall boys. These dudes bought me a shot of George Dickel. I thought they were buying me a shot of Jack. And I'm like, guys.
Dickel's good.
Yeah, my buddy, my boy, his best friend, his other best friend, he's rich, he's loaded. The dude works his ass off, but his parents were very well off. He's one of those few like rich kids who actually has a work ethic. Gotcha. And he literally goes, yeah, Jared, I got us all shorts of this thing. I don't remember what it was called. He goes, what are you, Doers? I'm like, Doers is scotch. And I shoot it. And I'm like, that's bourbon. And he goes, yeah, it's something with a D. I'm like, say Dickel on it? He goes, yeah, George Dickel. I'm like, I just committed a bourbon drinker sin. Fuck.
It's like, homeboy, that shit's bottled in bond, baby.
This thing is like, I put this shit on ice, man. The best shot I ever took in my life.
Dickel is great.
Dickel's amazing.
Yeah.
My go-to.
Yeah, Rick, go ahead. You said you were talking about like some tall boys.
The tall boys. So for TJ rudely interrupt like he always does in our show.
You know what?
Listen, I'm Captain ADHD. It's all good.
Have you guys ever played tall boy roulette?
Yes,
I haven't.
I'm actually doing a party with my friends in like a week and a half. We're doing it again.
Yeah, we did it. So I did it with my friends in the backyard once, and then my brother liked the idea, and he brought it to us for our family 4th of July weekend. And it was something else. We had like the Twisted Teas, the Limeritas. We had like Steel Reserve. We had like Old E. Anything you think of like the shittiest things ever.
Old English, yeah.
And it was, I think the best one that was in there was a Yingling. Yingling was like the goal. Like, that was like you wanted the Yingling because I mean I love Yingling anyway. I drink Yingling all the time. I'm not saying anything bad about it, but Yingling compared to what we had whatever else we had in there, was terrible. We had a Twisted Tea. I had to switch with my sister because my sister actually likes Twisted Tea. So she was like, I'll take a Twisted Tea over like a Limerita or something. So I was like, all right, fine.
Twisted Tea is another one. If you're on the beach and something, if it's cold and
it
fits
cold,
the motif, it's warm out,
like hot
crank
out,
it down.
Maybe like 12 ounces though. But if you're like a tall boy, like 24 ounces of that shit.
No, you're right. It's a little much.
That's a lot of sugar. It's hard to get down.
Twisted Tea. Tough. Listen, one of my favorite NFL draft memories, because every year I do the same thing every year. Well, actually, now that I work for Belly Up, I basically have to fucking sit and standby for that fucking show for 6 hours. Thanks, Dan. And every year, it's clockwork. The Eagles do something fucking ridiculous before I go on. So for the past 2 straight years, I have entered the show like this. We made a trade with the Cowboys for Devontae Smith, and then we go and trade for A.J. Brown. Next year we're gonna fucking go get like Tom Brady or some shit. That's the way it's gonna have to go. It only goes up. But yeah, no. Before that, in college, my thing was that I would drink a tall boy of like Twisted Tea, or like a tall boy of I don't know, like Yingling or something crazy. Because honestly, The first one I did was over the Aguilar draft, and that was just
geez.
Yeah, listen, it's rough being an Eagles fan.
No, so I'm also an Eagles fan. I don't know if I ever prefaced that.
Oh, Nick, you're my new favorite person.
Yeah, so my dad's from Philly, born and raised. So
Brooke, you're a fucking Jaguars fan. Go away.
So, I'm a Giants fan, actually.
So
Jaguars fan is a joke.
Oh,
so
really?
I took the Eagles from like my dad's side, but like I'm based in like DC. I'm not like Washington Commanders or whatever the fuck. I'm not like I took the Eagles over that, but I'm
Commanders,
Washington, everything else.
Wait,
so like
Nationals
fucking suck. Capitals, but I got to go with my Eagles. So like AJ Brown, that's fucking awesome. So yeah, fly Eagles fly, baby.
It's a pretty good trade.
It's okay. Also, like my by the way, a quick funny story, right? I asked a liquor store guy once. We were on our way to the Eagles Washington Tuesday night game. We made it through Jersey into Philadelphia in 2.5 hours from Armonk, New York. I was impressed as fuck.
Wow.
We hit traffic for 30 seconds on the Parkway, and we hit traffic for 30 seconds on the I-95 interchange right in Manhattan, Bronx area. Mm-hmm. Ever since, it was just straight. We get there, we each drink 3 of the hazy, whatever that bear is, by Sierra Nevada. Huggy Bear, like something bear, whatever it's called. It's like 9.9%. The 12-ounce cans, it's like a $10 6-pack. Me and my boy dropped 3 of those each, ran in, grabbed tall boys. We were drunk by the first quarter.
Nice.
On a Tuesday night, though, I'm also ripping heaters in the line for the freaking like a porta potty running it too. Just being a total Philadelphia Eagles fan for about 5 minutes.
I got it's weird. It's so weird because I'm like the firstborn, from my parents, and my brother and sister are twins, boy and a girl, and they are 10 years younger than me. So when we have house parties and all their friends come, they're 25, I'm 35, and it gets really awkward when I'm like, we'll play beer ball. And I mean, I was always a beer pong kind of guy. Yeah. And beer ball is now, 2 cans on each side. You try to knock each other's cans over. If it's fucking not empty, it spills out. You get another can. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I played hockey my whole life, baseball my whole life. I'm a competitive son of a bitch. I'll get competitive with darts and bowling. It doesn't matter. And it's just me screaming at 25-year-old girls like, you fucking suck. And it's just like that awkwardness of only my brothers high-fiving me. And everybody else is like, needs their safe space. And I'm like, oh, sorry, wrong generation. I'll leave.
It's okay. That's how I'm that way too at house parties and like beer pong and flip cup. Like I'm the same fucking way.
Beer ball.
Well, TJ, why'd you assume their gender, that they were all girls?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We're doing this now.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect time to end the show.
What they call
Dude, you know what?
today?
It's funny. It's actually sad because I entertained it and I was trying to be a good neighbor, but we're hanging out outside, we're all drinking, and this Roe versus Wade thing goes off. And like you, I'm a libertarian. I'm very libertarian, but that often gets convoluted with, it just, you see the Republican side of things because it just kind of goes with the Constitution, or more or less goes with the Constitution. So it gets brought up, and I prefaced my argument with like, yo, I don't care. I agree it's a woman's right to choose. But where was like my right to choose when it came to the vaccine and all this? And my neighbor pipes up fucking 3 fences down and just starts giving me a lecture about how it's totally different and all this other stuff. And I'm trying so hard to be nice. And I'm just like, And in the back of my head, it's just like, say it. Tell her to suck a fat one. And I'm like, no, dude, don't do it. She lives on the same block.
It's like the whole scene from Venom where like the head's staring at you like, just say it. You won't do it.
Yeah, it's just, dude, it's like, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right, so like, okay, one of my best friends, she's a girl. I'm also best friends with her boyfriend. And so the two of them, it's a weird, like the way I equate it is like, someone's like, wait, you're best friends with a couple? I'm like, yes. Look at it as like Lily and Marshall on Ted. That's the way I look at it from like How I Met Your Mother. That's how our dynamic is. And so they're talking. One of them is a very pro 2A gun guy. Me and him are both on the same page. I'm very pro lock and load.
Absolutely.
But also, I'm also very like, it's not my prerogative to tell you what a woman should do with her body. It's not my decision. Until it's my decision, it's not my decision.
Right.
So I'm trying to stay neutral in this whole discussion, right? And I'm literally, and this is on Sunday, I'm hosting a barbecue in my fucking house, 95 fucking degrees outside. I'm trying to cook about 3,000 things. And because, I'm the cook in my friend group, apparently. So I'm literally trying to diffuse every single bomb. And at one point, somebody said something that I'm like, all right, head cocked. All right, what'd you say? And I'm just trying to keep my head like, I'm like, all right, just relax. It's okay. Just let them talk themselves into a corner.
Yep.
Let somebody else attack it. It's not your job. You're cooking, whatever. But oh my God, TJ, I feel you, man. It's just,
I was just smiling and laughing, and then over my shoulder, my wife is like, "What the fuck are you saying?" I'm like, "Oh shit, my wife's going in." I was like, "Oh, back out, abort." So my wife just got angry.
Okay, so it's so funny, right? So I dated my last 2 exes, right? So one was a bleeding heart liberal, and then my last ex was a conservative. So I've always been a libertarian since I like probably early days of college. So my ex would be saying shit. I'm like, yo, you cannot say that shit in public. You realize that, right? And she goes, what do you mean? I'm like, you cannot say that shit. We are in a very urban club. Do not say that shit.
Yeah,
your Irish background does not cover your ass here.
I try to explain to people libertarianism, and I'm just like, they're like, oh, how do you feel about, now weed's legal in a whole bunch of
individual
states?
Rights.
Make it all legal. I said,
I
but
just
don't
smoked
tax
the
me.
other day. Who gives a shit?
I was
individual
like,
rights and constitution.
Don't
That's what
tax
it is.
me when somebody ODs on the corner. Like, no, I don't fix the
Quick
fucking
question.
potholes first.
Good question. Who'd everyone vote for? No.
Yes.
And let's watch this get taken down.
I'll give you a hint. His last name began with a consonant.
Oh God. I'm going to start. I made one joke about gender, and you guys started getting into libertarianism. And
dude, you made that joke. It's so funny. He made a joke on our last podcast where we were talking about phone books, and he was like, "Oh, more chins than a Chinese phone book," and we like all kind of like looked like, "Dude, I don't think that's okay anymore."
You can't say that. I think it's listen. Like I made that joke.
I did identify the Apache helicopter on your podcast, though.
Nick started. Nick said the Chinese phone book. I thought that's where he was going, so I finished it for him.
So McCarthy found this out, right? So my former co-host, he's a little more liberal. He's in Boston, but he's quit the company. He's gone. So all I have is right now is my co-host Matt. The rest of them are just it's open season. By the way, all you scoreboard addicts, fellas, you guys, and also what's in the point, you guys are also welcome on the Korner booth pregame. McCarthy's a veteran; he knows what it's like. But listen, we do this. Standards. Imagine this, but we talk sports during it. That's how I founded this podcast off that principle. But so I have to hold my tongue so much because my former co-host, who will not be named, his last episode was last Thursday. And then Kevin's not really that liberal. Kevin's just Kevin. But like this other dude was a little more on the left-leaning side. I'm a libertarian. I had to hold my tongue a lot. There's a couple times I wanted to make jokes, and I just have to hold my tongue because it's just I don't want to piss anybody off, man.
But isn't that sad? It's funny. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all opinion based, and nobody's right, nobody's wrong, unless you play the statistic game, and then you still get told, "Well, my feelings." It's like, all right, I'm tapping out. If you go that way, I'm done. I can't have an adult conversation with you if you're basing off your feelings. If we're going off of my fucking feelings, then I swear to God, I should be an Avenger right now. At least Iron Man, maybe Spider-Man, floating around doing something better with my life. But my opinions don't matter for shit. So
all right, we got to wrap it up in about 5-ish minutes or so. I'm not trying to cut TJ off here because honestly, I can't wait for my first appearance on Scoreboard Addicts podcast because
we're gonna go
I
hard.
know these guys want me back now. I want also. I miss also. By the way, I miss Jabberjaw, man. I love that motherfucker. He didn't show up.
Yeah, dude. He's like, dude, I can't drink tonight. He goes, he's like, my lips are all chapped. He goes, I think I'm having like a allergic reaction. He said he has his eczema spread to his mouth, and I'm like, oh, okay, tap out. You're done.
Yeah,
I have a joke. I have a joke I can make about
that's some real shit. Okay, and also I got
So he was like, I've never heard the words like I'm gonna stop drinking for a little bit come out of his mouth. It's like, wait, what? What? Yeah, are you okay?
That's like with me. Like if McCarthy, if you ever hear me say myself drinking, just like phone line, make sure I'm okay. But
I'll get my intervention banner out.
Yeah, right.
The only time it's just I'm not going to drink right now. It's because like, oh shit, you're getting behind the wheel. Like, yeah.
Okay, I will tell y'all a quick joke before we get out of here. This actually happened to me. I was at a bar at college. I am talking with this very attractive woman. She is about my age, of course, about 23, 24. And so we're talking, we're chatting, whatever. And she says, yeah, my girlfriend's over there. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm no enemy to the Alphabet Mafia. I don't care. Listen, you do what you want to do. Be happy. Like, listen, you have just as much right to be miserable as the rest of us.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm talking to her, we're joking, whatever. And she goes, wait, you're libertarian? I'm like, yeah. She goes, what does that mean? I started to explain to her. I'm like, listen, I don't care who the fuck you are. You have as much right to smoke weed, own guns, and do whatever you want. As long as it doesn't hurt me, my family, or my friends, I don't give a shit. She goes, all right, cool. And I'm like, listen, you want to marry a guy, you marry a guy. Marry a girl, marry a girl. You want to marry a 2x4, just watch out for the splinters. The girl literally starts crying. She's laughing so hard. This girl, her girlfriend, who I swear to God, looked like every typical rugby girl from a college, right? Starts walking up to me.
Like me, but without a beard and more hair.
I'm not gonna say it, McCarthy, but
say
it. So she walks up to me, all wide shouldered, and I said, "Listen, I'm like, yes, miss, what's up?" And she goes, "Flirting with my girlfriend." I'm like, nope. She told me right away that you are her significant other. And I said, I explained to her the joke. She goes, "That's not funny." I'm like, "What? A dude sticking his dick in a 2x4 and getting splinters ain't funny? The fuck's wrong with you?"
Yeah, right. It's hilarious, and I would still watch it, and I don't care what you label me.
Oh my God, the girl! It was so funny. The girl gave me her best friend, who was straight's number. Never heard from the girl, but whatever. It still worked out. It's just not digits. It was a working phone number, so shit. I will say this though, with all this craziness right now, I just it's all good. We can get along over a pint.
If you can't laugh and joke around about it and call hypocrisy where hypocrisy needs to be called, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you really got to take it seriously, as if you think you know,
this is why sports are superior.
Yeah,
because sports are the great sports, music, movies. They're all the great uniter. Because this is 100%. Why sports were a thing. Listen, baseball was invented after the Civil War to help Civil War vets get over the fact of the PTSD from losses. You had football be invented, I think early 1900s, late 1800s?
1869.
Yeah, what was it?
1869.
Early 1900s.
Rutgers versus Princeton.
Okay. So McCarthy got Civil War vets. There you go. Basketball, early 1900s with James Naismith. Like, listen, guys, sports were meant to be a distraction. So regardless of what, and also so is beer. It's God's gift to mankind. Literally, Ben Franklin famously said, that beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy.
Yep.
And if there's anything I could leave you on, that is that quote, because sports and beer are two of the greatest inventions of mankind. And regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, which side you're talking about, what political bullshit's going on right now, because these fucking assholes in Washington, either side of the aisle, don't care about any of us. We all care about each other. So there you go. That is how we're going to leave it tonight. Listen, we'll go around the horn. Mr. McCarthy, where can we find you?
Well, you can find me down here, either at Who Is Ryan MCC or my podcast, No Credentials Required. I tried doing the daily thing, but the daily thing didn't work out, which is fine. These things happen.
By the way, I love your intern, Ryan. I just met him yesterday. He's hysterical.
Oh, thank you. So, No Credentials Required. We're coming out with an NHL Draft Preview. I'm interviewing some NHL Draft potential draft picks that are happening next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Nice.
So I'm excited for that. I got my last interview hopefully lined up very soon. And I got some other stuff coming down the road with some YouTube creators. So hoping to get booked that for the fall, and just keep listening. Just subscribe, listen, all that stuff.
It's always it's the best podcast to listen to when you're doing your morning drive in, because it doesn't get you too riled up. Always keeps you engaged. A good time. All right, my
commercials too.
My two friends from Scoreboard X, where can we find your fine asses?
Scoreboard X podcast. Yeah, listen. You can find us on YouTube. We make a shit ton of videos that range from drinking to playing sports to just yammering on about nonsense that nobody really gives a shit about. But if you care about something, and feel free to call us up. We give our phone number out there and argue with us, or just say something like, "Hey, Rook, you have a face that only a mother could love," and that's fine. You could add it right there. Yeah, absolutely. Just dig on them all day. I mean, that's what we do. But yeah, we're all over YouTube. Anywhere you can find a podcast. What are we on? Apple, iTunes, all of them. Audible, all that crap. You can find me on Twitter at TJ Needs a Beer. You can bullshit with me, attack me, do whatever you want. I really don't care. I don't block people. I don't care enough. If I don't know you, make me laugh at least. But check us out, Scoreboard Addicts. We just look to have a good time, talk sports, and let's go Rangers.
Yeah, we you can find me
Go Pens.
Let's go Devils.
At the Rook 22. We also have the Scoreboard Addicts Twitter account at Score Addicts Pod. We have the TikTok, which has been pretty good. We did a lot of hockey memes.
It's actually a very funny follow, by the way. Personally, I actually do follow it. So
thanks, appreciate it. We make those hockey memes. We do the brewery reviews on TikTok. So we'll hopefully do more of those coming up soon. So we got a lot of content that we come out with. We just had an interview with Mike Westhoff, which is actually really good. So if anyone listening, check that out.
Yeah, I need his information. I got
it's on my it's on my queue, my podcast queue for my drive to Pennsylvania, Mike. So
it was very.
I'm actually excited to listen to this, Rook. So
it's pretty good.
He was honestly
he actually complimented TJ to the point where he said your question was better than most of the New York media, and I was like,
well, that's not saying much, honestly. But
dude,
I mean, listen, TJ, I'm giving you love right here, but listen, New York media is dog shit anyway. So
100%. But you know what? Coming from a humble background, like a guy that picked up garbage most of his life for New York City sanitation, to have Mike Westhoff say like you're better than the New York media, I went inside. I told my wife, I was like, I got a compliment from a fucking legend. What'd you do tonight? She's like, I put your son to bed. I was like, all right, you win.
You win.
Hey, listen, speaking from a guy who got a degree in sports media and journalism, it's not a high bar to hit, man. Some of the dudes who graduate with me, holy fuck.
No, it's not on a high bar to hit because most of them are not fans of the sport at all. They just have a disdain for the athletes and the sport itself.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right.
If you have a lot, you can tell certain reporters, we'll get into Nick and myself in a second, but one point I got to make is, like, you can tell certain reporters for, like, NFL Network and MLB and all these guys, like guys like Jeff Pass and Ian Rappaport, these guys have a love for football and baseball. And Shams, he's a love for basketball. You can tell the way they report things. It's not just about breaking news. It's also about the fact that they love the sport they report on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I feel like I lost it with Shefty, also because the fact that he's paid off by teams, which in the NFL, so whatever, but.
That's
Nick,
one of the things that made me love A-Rod. With all that was going on with A-Rod and everybody hating on him because of steroids and stuff, when they said that if you went to A-Rod's house down in Miami, you walked in and he had 16 TVs with baseball on every single one of them, and he would talk to a stranger on the street about baseball. He lives, breathes the sport. I'd respect the hell out of that, regardless of what you do.
Got love for A-Rod because, listen, I wasn't really the big – I rooted for the Yankees as my proxy team when I was a kid because my Diamondbacks were terrible, so I needed a good team to root for in the playoffs. So A-Rod was my dog, and also because his love of Miami, so obviously I got to throw him love. But listen, like every time I've heard anything about A-Rod, he's like – when he wants to talk baseball, he's the coolest dude on the planet. So
yeah, love it.
All right, Nick, where can we find your fine podcast?
So you can find What's the Pint on Instagram and Twitter. We're trying to get the TikTok game going. So might have to take some pointers from you guys, from TJ especially, and see how you guys are doing your shit. But you can find us at What's the Pint Pod on Twitter, and then also What's the Pint Pod on Instagram. Haven't got into like the YouTube videos quite yet. Still just doing audio right now on Spotify and Apple, but looking to grow the game, man. So
very nice.
Appreciate you guys having me on.
I just want to throw it out. If anyone ever wants to join our show, feel free to like hit us up. Come on as a guest.
Okay, so do I have to text you fuckers? Or you're actually gonna let me in for once?
Text us, call us, show up my house.
By the way, like literally my favorite, as the podcast development director here at Belly Up, my favorite meeting was with these fuckers because it was fucking hysterical. I also got to roast your intern for about 20 minutes for leaving me after a day. Literally, I made fun of Sal for about 5 minutes, and it made me feel so good about myself. Because the fact of the matter is, Sal left, and then my whole entire team quit. So I was by myself for like 3 months, and I feel bad for Mike. Mike Brown felt so bad because he goes, I had the worst intern of all the Belly Up shows back in the fall of 2021. And so Mike's like, oh, you get the first applicant, the first like good applicant. So then Sal's like, oh, so Sal wants to go to Scoreboard Addicts. I'm like, the fuck just happened? I thought I was gonna hate you. I thought I was gonna hate you, fuckers.
He's a part of
you, and I was like,
he's officially a part of it too.
Yeah,
he has his Wrestling Addicts. We have the wrestling edition of our podcast, Wrestling Addicts, and it's him and our other friend Matt. So
yeah,
we doing good.
What's it called? This podcast pretty much started by we were just group chatting about the draft, Jets draft and Giants draft was coming up. We were just bullshitting, and this group chat's been going on forever. And I believe I missed one of the podcasts one week, and these guys start talking about an intern that we're getting. And I literally think they're just fucking around like, oh, yeah, we made it big time. We're getting an intern. We're going to have an office and all this other shit. I think they're just like, just throwing nonsense out there. And I'm like, LOLing the hell out of it.
I'm on Belly Up's board of directors. The intern is coming. I mean, the office is coming. It's just gonna be a little bit, okay,
dude. But they're just like, and I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then Sal's on the show, and I literally text him. I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this guy, Sal? They're like, that's the intern. I was like, oh, you guys were serious?
Yeah,
he thought we were.
Literally, we had a whole meet and greet with this kid, and I got his number and everything. And I'm like talking to him, and the next day I get a text. I'm leaving the gym, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to Scoreboard X." I'm like, when the fuck did these interns have freedom? What the fuck is this shit?
I love Sal too.
When I was an intern, I had to stand out in the freezing cold and sell tickets. The fuck you mean freedom?
The best part about Sal is because he was so much younger than us, we decided to does Gen Z now.
I know, just Gen Z. I love that
actually
shit.
like
I used to watch that shit. I look forward to that every week because
we haven't done it in a while, but that actually helped us.
Listen, I'm basically Gen Z. I'm like an elder. I'm like a youngest millennial. Like if you guys want me to come on, do it. I'll try.
We'll do it.
I'm 27. I'm pretty close to a Gen Z or so.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah. All right. You can find my fine ass and my co-host Matt at the Corner Booth Pod and at Belly Up Jared on all social media accounts. Matt is the king of TikTok. I am learning how to do this TikTok shit. I'm terrible at it, obviously. But Matt is right now doing a series on the best, most anticipated rookies for every NFL team. If your team is one of those, Jets or Giants, wink, check it out. It's on our TikTok at Corner Booth Pod. Listen, we appreciate y'all stopping by tonight. Well, this is not just going to be a one-off thing. We're going to try to do this every month, if not every other month. So listen, guys, I had a blast. I am almost trashed, and I'm loving every minute of it. You guys are the best. Shout out to What's in the Pint, Scoreboard Addicts, and No Credentials Required in the Corner Booth. We appreciate you stopping by. This is, of course, presented by the Corner Booth Production and Belly Up Media. We'll catch y'all on the respective shows next week. Appreciate you. Come see you later.
Thanks. Good night, boys. Make sure you